your favorite armchair, that first cup of coffee, the quiet predictability of your morning. One of these things is silently erasing 10 years from your healthy life. You wake up, you follow the same routine, and slowly, without you ever noticing, your world begins to feel smaller, quieter, and emptier. This isn't happening because you're getting older. It's happening because somewhere along the way, a part of you stopped reaching forward. In this video, I will reveal 9 hidden habits that quietly sabotage your later years, and I'll show you how to reverse them with small, simple shifts you can begin today. These are not drastic changes, but they are the very things that can protect your joy, preserve your dignity, and extend your independence for years to come. Your body, your mind, and your spirit are asking for your attention now. Let's not wait until it's too late. We'll start with the first silent mistake and why it might already be unfolding in your own home. Mistake number 1 might be the most surprising. Believing your passions simply disappear with age. It's a phrase I hear so often from seniors. I'm too old for that now. Whether it's painting, gardening, playing an instrument, or writing stories. Somewhere along the line, we quietly set these joys down and never pick them up again. Not because we lost our love for them, but because life became demanding, and eventually, we convinced ourselves that those vibrant parts of us no longer belong in this chapter. But here is the profound truth. Passion doesn't die when you turn 70. It only fades when you stop feeding it. I met a gentleman named Arthur, a retired mail carrier in Vermont, who cherished his guitar. In his younger days, he played every single evening. But then, life unfolded. His wife passed on, his children moved to different states. For 15 long years, that guitar sat untouched, a silent resident in the corner of his living room. Then one day, his granddaughter asked him, "Grandpa, what made you happy when you were my age?" That simple question awakened something dormant inside him. He picked up the guitar again. At first, his fingers felt stiff and clumsy. The chords sounded wrong. But the smile that spread across his face, that was undeniably real. According to the Mayo Clinic, older adults who consistently learn new skills or engage in creative hobbies demonstrate a 30% lower risk of cognitive decline. Why? Because you are actively building new neural pathways, reinforcing your brain's resilience. So no, it is not too late. In fact, now is the perfect time. At this stage of life, passion doesn't need to be grand or flawless. It just needs to be yours. Maybe it's writing postcards, reviving old family recipes, sketching flowers from the garden, or learning to dance again, slowly, in your kitchen to the music of your youth. These are not trivial pastimes. They are medicine for the soul. Today, I invite you to try one thing you used to love. Not to master it, but simply to feel like yourself again. If a hobby, a memory, or a dream comes to mind, share what it is in the comments. Or simply type revival if you're ready to bring that joy back. Because the real mistake isn't growing old. It's forgetting you are still vibrantly alive. The second mistake is a trap we all can fall into without ever noticing, depending too heavily on our children for our emotional well-being. Now, please don't misunderstand me. It is absolutely natural to miss your kids. You love them. You raised them. When they moved out, a piece of your heart went with them. So, of course, you eagerly anticipate their calls, their visits, the sound of your grandchild's laughter. But here is where it becomes quietly painful, when that becomes your only source of joy. I remember Mrs. Eleanor, 72, from Georgia. She would wait by the phone every Sunday for her daughter's call. If the phone didn't ring, her entire day felt washed out, colorless. And when it did, even a brief conversation would light up her entire being. But over time, the calls became less frequent, the visits more rushed. She began to feel invisible, as if her entire world had shrunk to the size of a phone screen. That is the danger. When we anchor our sense of happiness so tightly to people who are navigating their own busy lives, we start to feel forgotten. Not because they don't love us, but because we forgot to cultivate a life outside of them. Harvard Health reports that older adults with broader social networks, not just family, but friends, neighbors, and community groups, tend to live 5 to 7 years longer. And not just live longer, but live better. They laugh more, they move more, and they worry less. Why? Because connection isn't just about family, it's about belonging. And you, my friend, still have so much to offer the world. You don't need to join a huge organization or make 10 new friends overnight. Start small. Call that neighbor you used to chat with by the mailbox. Send a funny postcard to an old friend from work. Join a book club, or even just a weekly walking group at the local park. These tiny actions fill your own cup. They remind you that your life is still wide and full, not just on hold, waiting for someone else's schedule. And you'll find that when you start reconnecting with the world, you enjoy the time with your children even more. Because it's no longer the only thing keeping your heart full. So here's my question for you. What is one person you could reach out to this week? If a name comes to mind, share who it is below, or simply type connection in the comments. In the next part, we'll discuss a habit that starts in your body but impacts your mind more than you can imagine. Mistake number 3 might sound harmless, but it quietly erodes your vitality. Thinking it's too late to care for your body. I know how easy it is to adopt the mindset of, what's the point now? After all, you have lived a long and full life. You've worked tirelessly, raised a family, and survived more challenges than most people will ever know. So a part of you might feel, my body has been through enough. Why bother with it now? But my friend, that is precisely when your body needs your kindness the most. I once spoke with Mr. Robert, 78, a retired builder from Texas. He used to be a man of constant motion, strong and active. But after his wife passed away, he stopped cooking proper meals. He survived on what was easy, crackers, canned soup, processed snacks. He felt he was saving energy, but in reality, his energy was draining away. He began feeling weak, his joints ached, and even simple tasks felt like a burden. The joy was gone from food and movement. He told me it felt like his body was slowly shutting down. His story illustrates a powerful truth. A gentle walk around the block, a few simple stretches in the garden while you sip your tea, these are not small things. As we age, our bodies do change. Yes, they slow down, they stiffen, they require more rest. But they also listen. They respond gratefully to even the smallest acts of care. A deep stretch in the morning, an extra glass of water before breakfast, choosing a nourishing bowl of oatmeal over a sugary pastry. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need fancy athletic clothes. You just need the will to move, even a little, and the belief that you are worth the effort. And you are. Because this body of yours, it has carried you through decades of life. It deserves to feel strong enough to enjoy the world you've built, whether that means walking in the park with your grandchildren or simply getting out of bed without a wince of pain. So I ask you, what is one small, kind thing you can do for your body today? Even something as simple as standing up and stretching your arms toward the ceiling right now counts. If you're ready to give your body that little bit of love again, type the word vitality in the comments. Up next, we'll talk about a habit that feels responsible but can actually lock joy outside your door. Mistake number 4 is one we seldom discuss, yet it's more common than you think. Saving money for a someday while forgetting to live today. I remember Mrs. Margaret, 75, from Florida. She had worked hard her entire life, raising 3 children on a modest income. She rarely bought anything for herself and was a master at clipping coupons. Now, in retirement, she had a comfortable nest egg, more than enough, but she still lived with a scarcity mindset. Her clothes were faded, her meals were plain, and when I asked why she never treated herself to anything, she would smile and say, "I'm saving it, just in case." But here is the quiet tragedy in that statement. Margaret was saving her joy for a tomorrow that was never guaranteed to arrive. A study published by the AARP revealed something fascinating. Spending money with purpose on small, intentional joys, like a bouquet of fresh flowers, a fun painting class, or even hiring help for strenuous chores, can significantly reduce feelings of depression in seniors. It doesn't have to be extravagant, just purposeful. You see, money in the bank provides a sense of security. It means safety. But when we guard it so fiercely that life itself can't get in, our world begins to shrink. We trade vibrant color for cautious gray, and comfort for a feeling of control. And before we know it, we are alive, but we are not truly living. You didn't work all those years just to watch numbers in a bank account. You worked so that one day you could savor the fruits of your labor. So buy the fancy pastry from the bakery. Take that short day trip to a town you've always wanted to see. Say yes to a small pleasure that brings a little light into your day. Not because it's practical, but because you matter. I want to ask you something gently. When was the last time you spent a little money just to feel good? Not to fix something, not to pay a bill, but simply to bring a smile to your own face. If it's been too long, perhaps today is the day to change that. Even something as simple as a beautiful new mug for your morning coffee can shift your entire perspective. If this resonates with you, type the word abundance in the comments. Because sometimes hope shows up in a coffee cup, a comfortable chair, or a warm slice of pie. In the next part, we'll discuss something just as powerful and how starting over isn't about age, but about one brave decision. Mistake number 5 might be the quietest of them all, but it keeps so many seniors feeling stuck, thinking it's too late to start over. Perhaps you've said it to yourself before, that ship has sailed, or I missed my chance. It's an easy thought to believe, especially after retirement, after the children have built their own lives, after your daily routines have set in like concrete. But here is something you may not realize. Your brain, even in your 70s and beyond, is designed for growth. According to research from the University of California, older adults can continue learning new skills and building new habits well into their 90s, as long as they are fueled by purpose and curiosity. I remember Mr. Samuel, 81, from Arizona. After his wife passed away, he spent 2 years mostly in solitude. His diet consisted of canned soup. He watched the same television shows on a loop, and he told himself, "This is just how life is now." Then one day, at his grandson's gentle urging, he signed up for a watercolor class at the local community center. The first day, he almost turned around at the door, feeling out of place. But he forced himself to stay, and something completely unexpected happened. He laughed, he made new friends, and he started to genuinely look forward to Tuesdays again. Starting over doesn't have to mean moving to a new city or making some monumental life change. It can be as gentle as choosing one small, new thing. A new morning stretch, learning to bake a new type of bread, volunteering at the local library, or finally reading that thick book you've kept on your shelf for years. The problem isn't your age. The problem is believing that age is a finish line for becoming. That belief quietly closes doors that are still wide open. If we don't challenge that mindset, we risk drifting, letting our days blur together, our purpose fade, and our joy grow silent. But if we do, even one small choice can bring vibrant color back into a gray day. So, what is one thing you've always wanted to try, but told yourself it was too late for? Think about it for a moment. If something comes to mind, I would be honored if you shared it in the comments. Or just type the word begin if you're ready to open a new door for yourself. Because tomorrow does not have to be a copy of today. The next part of your story might just be the most meaningful one yet. Mistake number 6 is one that creeps up on you so quietly you don't even notice it's happening. Living the same day over and over until you forget what day of the week it is. It starts out feeling comfortable, even peaceful. Wake up, make coffee, sit in your favorite chair, watch the same morning show. But after a while, the days begin to blur into one another. And without you realizing it, something inside you starts to dim. I remember a conversation with Mrs. Clara, 79, from Michigan. She told me, "I used to know it was Tuesday because that was my Bible study day. Now, I only know it's Sunday because I hear the church bells ringing down the road." She wasn't sad, and she wasn't sick, but her world had quietly, imperceptibly shrunk. And that shrinkage is what made her feel like she was slowly disappearing. Here is the science behind this feeling. According to research from Johns Hopkins, a lack of novelty in our daily lives can lead to faster memory loss and a sense of disorientation in older adults. When our brain ceases to encounter new information or new experiences, it becomes less active. And when that happens, we lose our grip not just on time, but on ourselves. Now, I am not suggesting you need to pick up a brand new, complicated hobby every single week. That's not what this is about. It's about small, gentle disruptions to your routine. Things like walking a different route this morning, calling someone you haven't spoken to in years just to say hello, listening to a new genre of music while you fold the laundry. These tiny shifts, when done with intention, can reawaken your mind. You don't have to climb a mountain. Just try something unfamiliar. Even rearranging the furniture in your living room or trying a new soup recipe can make a difference. Those small moments of change send a powerful signal to your brain. I'm still here. I'm still learning. I still care. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you did something, even something very small, for the very first time? If it's been a while, that's perfectly okay. But maybe today is a good day to break the pattern. If you're ready to reawaken your days, just type spark in the comments. Because life doesn't end when we retire. It just waits for us to start paying attention again. Mistake number 7 is something we almost never say out loud, but it quietly drains our spirit, holding on to toxic relationships out of a deep fear of being alone. You see, loneliness is a powerful, real emotion. I will not pretend it isn't. We all crave someone to talk to laugh with, to simply have someone who remembers we exist. But sometimes, in our profound need for connection, we keep people in our lives who consistently leave us feeling worse. And that isn't comfort. That's emotional exhaustion wearing the mask of a friend. I once met Mr. Frank, 73, from Ohio. Every week, he would have lunch with an old friend from his factory days. And after every single visit, Frank came home feeling drained, not from the walk, but from listening to an endless stream of complaints and subtle jabs about his life choices. He confessed to me, "I don't even enjoy it anymore. But we've been friends for 40 years. What else am I supposed to do?" That kind of habit, that sense of obligation, is what chips away at your spirit, slowly but deeply. Here's something I want you to remember. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time does not automatically mean they are good for your life today. According to the National Institute on Aging, chronic stress, even the kind that comes from difficult social interactions, can elevate your risk of heart problems, sleep issues, and can lower your immune system. This isn't just an emotional toll, it's a physical one. And no, I am not suggesting you need to abruptly cut people off or start your social life over from scratch. But you absolutely have the right to protect your peace. You are allowed to say, "This conversation no longer feels good to me," or "I think I need some space right now." Setting a boundary is not the end of a relationship. Sometimes, it's the beginning of a healthier one. The older we get, the more precious our energy becomes. You don't need a crowd of people around you. You just need a few who remind you of your worth, not people who drain it. So ask yourself gently, is there anyone in your life you've been holding on to, simply because you're afraid of what might happen if you let go? You deserve relationships that make you feel safe, heard, and light. If this speaks to you, type the word peace in the comments. Not just for new people, but for a new sense of peace within yourself. Mistake number 8 is one we rarely notice, but it can leave us feeling profoundly hollow. Neglecting your spiritual life. You care for your home. You take your medicine. You try to eat right. But let me ask you something gently. When was the last time you sat quietly and asked yourself how your soul was doing? Not your blood pressure. Not your joints. Your soul. I once spoke to Miss Alice, 77, from Maine. She used to write in her journal every single morning. It was nothing fancy, just a few passing thoughts, a short prayer, a memory from her childhood. But then her days grew more complicated. Her husband became ill, and slowly, that quiet time for herself vanished. Years later, she told me, "I didn't even realize how much I missed it until I finally sat down one morning and just started writing again. I cried for half an hour, not because I was sad, but because I finally felt like I was with myself again." As we age, it's easy to treat our spiritual life as optional. But the truth is, the soul requires nourishment, too. According to the National Institutes of Health, older adults with an active spiritual life, whether that's expressed through faith, meditation, gratitude, or a connection with nature, experience up to a 25% lower risk of depression and anxiety. And spiritual health doesn't have to mean organized religion for everyone. It can be as simple as sitting with your morning tea and just listening to the wind. It can be lighting a candle for someone you miss, or whispering a few words of gratitude at the end of a long day. Your inner world matters. Because when the soul is left quiet for too long, we lose our connection to wonder, to purpose, and to peace. And you deserve all three of those things. So today, I invite you to come back home to yourself. Pick up a notebook, listen to a calming piece of music, say a prayer, or simply walk slowly through your garden, with no phone, no pressure, just presence. If your spirit has been waiting for you, this is your moment to return. If you're ready to reconnect, even just a little, type the word soul in the comments. Let it be a gentle promise to yourself. Mistake number 9 is the one that can slowly flatten your world, believing there is nothing left to discover. I have heard many older folks say it with a tired, gentle smile. The best parts of my life are behind me. And I understand why that feeling exists. You have seen so much, you have been through so much. You've celebrated incredible joys, endured deep losses, you have grown, and you have persevered. So it is easy to feel like the story has already been told, and that now, your role is simply to sit back and observe. But what if that very thought is quietly stealing something beautiful from you? I once met Mrs. Patricia, 76, who told me she hadn't felt a sense of wonder in years. Until one day, her great-grandson asked her, "Grandma, have you ever made banana bread completely from scratch?" She laughed and said no. The two of them spent the entire afternoon covered in flour, laughing together over a lopsided, sunken loaf. She told me later, "I hadn't felt that alive, that present, in a long, long time." You see, discovery doesn't always mean grand travels or big, life-altering changes. According to the journal Psychology and Aging, some of life's richest emotional and spiritual insights, like forgiveness, meaning, and quiet joy, tend to deepen significantly after the age of 65. That means that right now might be the best time to look inward, to explore not just the world, but yourself. New does not have to be dramatic. It can be as gentle as watching the sunrise from a different window, trying a new flavor of tea, or even just truly noticing the kind smile of a stranger at the grocery store. When we believe nothing new is coming our way, we stop looking for it. And when we stop looking, we miss the quiet, magical moments that make life feel real, even in small doses. So I ask you from my heart, when was the last time something surprised you in a good way? When was the last time you did something, tasted something, or thought something for the very first time? If it's been a while, that is okay. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Even today, something small and beautiful is waiting for you right outside your routine. You don't need anyone's permission to find it. You only need to look up. If this speaks to you, type the word wonder in the comments. Because curiosity doesn't belong to the young. It belongs to the open-hearted. Before we say goodbye today, I want to leave you with the simple truth that weaves through all of these points. It is never, ever too late to care for yourself, your body, your heart, or your spirit. Sometimes the smallest shifts can bring the greatest peace. Whether it's picking up an old hobby, setting a boundary in a difficult friendship, or just walking a new path to the mailbox, these gentle choices matter deeply. They are a declaration to the world, and more importantly, to yourself, that you are still here and you still matter. Of everything we discussed today, which of these 9 mistakes resonated with you the most? Which one made you pause and think? Please, be open in the comments below. Your story could be the one that gives someone else courage. If this message spoke to your heart, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. In our next video, we are going to talk about the 3 so-called healthy foods that could be draining your energy after 60, and you will not want to miss it. Until then, wherever you are, I hope your next cup of coffee feels a little warmer, your breath feels a little lighter, and you remember that even in stillness, your story is still beautifully unfolding. Take good care. I'll see you in the next video.